I never thought my life would unravel over a soggy sandwich in a company cafeteria. But there I was, in the heart of dusty Laramie, Wyoming, where the wind howls like a betrayed lover and the oil rigs the horizon like silent sentinels. The sun was beating down through the grimy windows of our distribution center's break room, casting long shadows over the formica tables littered with half-eaten lunches. I was mid-bite into my turkey club, the kind you grab from the local diner because the vending machines here spit out nothing but disappointment, when Mark, our CFO, decided to make his grand entrance. He stormed in like a villain from an old Western flick, his boots clacking against the linoleum floor, face twisted in that smug satisfaction I'd come to loathe. "Emily," he bellowed, loud enough to make the room freeze, forks hovering, conversations dying mid-sentence. "You're the $150,000 dead weight dragging this company down. Your position's redundant. Your attitude's poison. Pack your crap and get out. Security's waiting." The words hit me like a gut punch. But inside, a storm raged. How dare he, after all these years, pouring my soul into this place, reading every clause, flagging every risk, while he played golf with investors and ignored the fine print. I felt the heat rise in my chest, not just anger, but a deep, gnawing betrayal. Why me? Was it because I pushed back on his reckless cost-cutting, the ones that skirted safety regs in our chemical storage? Or was it simpler ego? Plain and cruel? I didn't beg or shout. No, that wasn't my style. I stood slowly, my heart pounding in my ears, and reached for the cardboard box I'd stashed under the table that morning. Call it intuition, or maybe just the weariness of a woman in her mid-40s who's seen too many corporate rodeos. Inside, my framed certifications, a wilting succulent from my desk, and the binder, the real prize. Our insurance policy, endorsements included. Mark had never cracked it open, but I had, page by painstaking page. As I walked out, past the staring eyes of coworkers, roughnecks from the warehouse, admins with their coffee mugs clutched like lifelines, one guy from shipping clapped. Slow. Sarcastic. I didn't look back. My mind raced. Endorsement 12C. The one requiring a named risk compliance officer. Approved and notified within 7 days of any change. I was that name. No successor filed. No notice. Coverage void without it. I'd highlighted it, tabbed it with a note. Don't mess this up. Idiots. In red Sharpie, no less. Driving home along the endless Wyoming plains, the sagebrush blurring by, I gripped the wheel tighter. The silence in my truck was deafening. Why hadn't I fought harder? Deep down, I knew I'd given too much already. Sleepless nights poring over audits, warning about lithium battery storage near the propane tanks, only to be called overcautious. But now, as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in fiery oranges, I felt a flicker of something darker, vindication mixed with sorrow. They'd learn soon enough. The loss control inspection was tomorrow. Without me, it'd be a disaster. That night, in my modest ranch house on the outskirts, I sat at the kitchen table, laptop glowing like an accusatory eye. The quarterly walkthrough invite stared back. I hovered over cancel, my finger trembling. Was this revenge? Or just self-preservation? The inner turmoil clawed at me, loyalty versus justice. I'd built this company's safety net. Threat be threat. Canceling felt like cutting my own lifeline. But staying silent? That would betray everything I stood for. I typed, no longer authorize, sent. Then, an email to our insurer rep at Western Mutual, I am no longer the designated risk compliance officer. Cold. Factual. My tea went untouched as regret and resolve warred inside me. What if this blew up bigger than I imagined? But no, they'd brought this on themselves. By morning, the emails started trickling in. Coworkers, what happened? You okay? I ignored them. My mind a whirlwind. Mark thought he'd trimmed fat, but he'd sliced the artery. In Wyoming's oil and gas world, you don't mess with compliance. Federal regs on hazardous materials are ironclad. One lapse, and shipments halt. Fines pile up. I pictured him in his corner office, oblivious, while the fuse I'd lit snaked toward explosion. At 9:15 a.m., I imagined the scene, the inspector arriving at our sprawling warehouse, clipboard in hand, expecting me. Instead, confusion. No prep notes. I'd withdrawn them. No host. Red flags waving. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it ring. A small act of defiance. Inside, doubt gnawed. Was I becoming the monster they accused me of? No. This was accountability. Raw and real. The day dragged. My thoughts looping. By noon, a forwarded email from a sympathetic colleague, the insurer querying the change. Confirm new officer per 12C. Mark's panic would be setting in now. Good. Let him feel the weight I'd carried alone. The afternoon sun slanted through my blinds, turning my living room into a patchwork of light and shadow. But inside me, the shadows dominated. I paced the worn hardwood floors of my house, the one I'd bought after my divorce. A sanctuary now tainted by this mess. Why did it hurt so much? I'd known Mark was a bully, strutting around like he owned the plains, but to humiliate me publicly? It stirred old wounds, the ex who left me feeling worthless, the promotions I'd been passed over for being too detail-oriented. Now, this. My mind screamed, fight back. But how? The binder on my coffee table mocked me. Its tabs a roadmap to their downfall. My phone lit up again, Mark's office line. I answered on the fourth ring, voice steady despite the storm within. Hello. Silence. Then his forced calm. Emily, quick question. Did we file that change notice with Western Mutual? I almost laughed, but bitterness choked it. No, Mark. You fired me in front of everyone. Paperwork wasn't on my mind. Another pause. His breathing heavy. They're asking about coverage. Just a mix-up. Oh. The arrogance. That's what 12C prevents mix-ups. You ignored it. He hung up. But I knew the dominoes were falling. Our biggest client, Frontier Labs, handling chemical shipments across state lines, required updated certificates signed by the approved officer. No fakes allowed under federal interstate commerce laws, clear as day in Wyoming's regs. I'd warned them months ago about battery risks near flammables, but Mark called it paranoia. Now, paranoia was biting back. Texts flooded in, HR scrambling. They named Jake interim. Poor Jake. The warehouse lead who thought compliance meant wearing steel toes. They'd try backdating. I bet. Illegal as hell under insurance fraud statutes. My inner voice whispered, let them dig deeper. But guilt tugged, what about the workers? Families depending on those jobs. Was my pain worth their suffering? By 1 p.m., another email chain forwarded. Frontier querying the COI. Discrepancy noted. Underwriter review required. Boom. In the oil patch. One client's hesitation ripples, suppliers freeze, rigs idle. Mark's streamlining was a landslide. I sat on my porch, watching antelope graze in the distance, feeling isolated yet empowered. Why hadn't I spoken up sooner? Fear? Loyalty? The conflict tore at me. Revenge felt intoxicating, but hollow. The call from Sarah at Western Mutual came at 2:45. Emily. Confirming. Terminated without notice. Yes. No successor filed? Correct. Her tone, clinical. Coverage suspended pending correction. Need board-approved plan. Suspended, not cancelled. A lifeline, but a noose for them. I clarified. Who signs? You, or verified successor. Power shifted, but it weighed heavy. Was I gloating?
No. Just surviving.
Mark called back. Voice cracking. We need your sign-off. Team effort. Hypocrite. On my terms, I said. Heart racing. 90-day consult at my rate. Clean record. Indemnity for lapses. And policy changes requiring board vote. Silence. Terms? This is blackmail.
No.
Consequences. He sputtered. But I hung up, trembling. Inside. Turmoil. Was this justice or vengeance? I'd lost friends.
Trust.
But they'd undervalued me. Time to recalibrate. The emergency Zoom invite arrived, for PM. I joined audio only, letting them stew.
Chaos ensued, legal fretting fines.
Logistics panicking shipments. Oversight, Mark claimed. I unmuted. Oversight? You fired your safeguard. Dropped my draft agreement. They had minutes before Frontier's penalties kicked in, $20K hourly. Per contract. I'd memorized it. The board voted reinstatement. Temporary. Sarah approved the plan. Audits resume. Successor vetted. Terminations noticed. Coverage flickered green at 4:52. Trucks rolled. Relief washed over me, but mixed with sorrow. I'd save them, but at what cost to my soul? As dusk settled over the Wyoming Badlands, the golden hues fading to bruised purples, my heart ached with a deeper intensity. The victory tasted like ash. I'd forced their hand, but the inner battle raged fiercer. Who was I now? The avenger? Or the casualty? Memories flooded, nights alone after shifts, questioning my worth, wondering if my meticulous nature was a curse. Mark's words echoed, dead weight. They stung because part of me believed them. But no more. Postcall. Emails poured in. Thanks from coworkers. Subtle digs at Mark. I replied sparingly. My mind elsewhere. The company's near collapse exposed fractures I'd ignored. Toxic culture. Undervalued roles. In the West, we pride self-reliance. But this? It was isolation amplified. I wandered my garden, fingers trailing sage leaves, tears welling. Why cry now? Because redemption hurt. I'd proven my value, but at the expense of trust shattered. Next morning, the board reconvened. Mark's excuses fell flat. Legal's report, preventable lapse. His bonus clawed back 6 figures.
Gone.
He resigned by noon, box in hand.
No fanfare.
Poetic. But it twisted my gut. Was his ruin my fault?
No.
His choices. Yet empathy crept in. Perhaps he was broken too. Driven by pressures I couldn't see. They offered permanence. Come back. Emily. Tempting. But my soul screamed no. Retainer through quarter, I countered. Train my successor, Lisa. From safety. She gets it. Acceptance came swift. I drafted the final clause. Unauthorized officer changes void executive protections. Sarah nodded. Fair. Board passed it.
Control solidified.
But not for me, for the next one. Emotions swelled. Pride in resilience. Grief for lost years.
Idea marcia strunge.
but scarred. The West teaches endurance. But this lesson? Deeper. Accountability isn't revenge, it's growth. Night enveloped my home, stars piercing the vast sky like accusations. Sleep evaded me. Instead, waves of raw emotion crashed. Relief mingled with profound sadness for the woman I'd been. Invisible, indispensable yet discarded. Why did it take catastrophe to validate me? Inner monologue spiraled. You deserved better. But did you push too hard? Self-doubt clawed, but resolve hardened. This wasn't just my story. It was a mirror to corporate America's underbelly, where the quiet keepers pay the price. Days blurred into negotiations.
Lisa zhadoved me virtually.
Her eagerness a bomb.
You saved us, she said. No, irraplia.
Voice thick. We save each other. Teaching her endorsement 12C. I felt purpose renew, but laced with melancholy. What if I'd mentored sooner? Regrets piled, heavy as the Rockies. Mark's exit haunted, rumors of his downfall. Family strained. Pity stirred, humanity's thread. I anonymized a tip to HR. Review wellness programs. Small act, but it eased the ache. Emotions intensified, forgiveness budding amid fury. The West's harsh beauty reminded me, storms pass, revealing clearer paths. By week's end, coverage stabilized. Board emails, gratitude veiled in corporate speak. I signed off, heart full yet fractured. Healing beckoned. Perhaps a new venture in compliance consulting. The turmoil peaked, joy in freedom, sorrow in severance. In the quiet dawn of a new Wyoming morning, light flooding my kitchen like a promise, emotions overwhelmed, a torrent of hope, laced with lingering pain. I'd weathered the storm, but the scars pulsed. Reflecting on it all, I saw the humanity, Mark's arrogance born of insecurity, the board's blindness from detachment. My revenge? Transformed into a gentle lesson. Value the unseen. Foster accountability with compassion. Lisa took over seamlessly. Her first audit flawless. Thanks to you, she messaged. Tears fell. Mentorship mended what breakage couldn't. I declined extensions. Choosing peace. Walks in the prairies. Reconnecting with self. The company thrived. Policies reformed. A testament to growth. In the end,
No villains.
just flawed souls learning. I found solace in that, forgiveness for them. Grace for me. The West whispered, from dust rises strength. And so, I rose, heart mended, ready for horizons anew.